Are you excited for the new Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy 16. Well, I think any numbered Final Fantasy is a big deal because it is a big deal. We don't get numbered Final Fantasies very often. I mean, when was the last time? Like, when did 15 come out? That was, I mean, I don't know how many years ago that was, but any numbered Final Fantasy 15 should be a big deal. Now, my thing is like, I actually don't know too much about this game. I don't really know what the combat is. I just know like it's coming very soon. I don't know who the characters are. I don't know what the story is, and I don't know if that's bad or not because I like the Final Fantasy series, been playing it since the original. So I know there's some hype around it, but maybe I've been deaf to it. What do you, I mean? Have you heard something like what is in your opinion about
I've
FF16?
I've heard that it was coming out. If there's something that I'm passingly interested in, I try not to pay attention to it anymore
Hmm.
because then I end up getting like super hype about it, and eh, I'd rather be like pleasantly surprised, especially now in the era of No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, that you don't even really want to play video games when they're out for the first 6 months.
This is true. That's actually another good point. I mean, Square hasn't really. I mean, I guess maybe Final Fantasy 14 might be a good example, but this isn't like a CD Project Red where you kind of know like a big, massive open world game is going to be hugely buggy on day one. It's going to require, a 80 gig patch.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, we are from MyGamer.com, by the way. Go there, put us in your favorites. We are covering the games that nobody else is playing. Not that Final Fantasy 16 is a rare game or something like that, an uncommon game by any means. But this is actually the demo, which just dropped a couple of days ago, I think, at the time of the stream. And the full version of the game, is supposed to come out next week. So soon. I thought it was cool that we could give this an early preview, and apparently the save data transfers to the full game, which is cool. Square's been doing that a lot. A lot of companies have been doing that, which I think is a really nice feature if they take the time to develop something like that.
I I think that I mean one of the reasons piracy is so rampant is because there's no good demos.
That's a good point. I think demos have they haven't really been around too much since like the PS1 and the PS2 era. Everything kind of went away, but that was an art form back in the day. You had to have a nice demo. You got a demo disc in magazines in the mail. Obviously, you don't really need that stuff now since everything's digital, totally different landscape. But still, I think to develop a demo really takes a lot of extra time that I don't think a lot of developers.
Which I totally get.
Yeah, I totally get that too, for sure. Especially like a game like this is so big and massive. To specifically create a demo for it is really going out of your way.
Yeah, and I mean I very much understand that. I mean that was the original argument when demos fucking first disappeared from the world was,
Hmm.
this is that's time and people that we could be putting towards the game.
At
Hire
the same time,
freelancers.
something, but I mean, it's used now as a marketing tool, like it is right here that we're streaming. Like, here's a chance to play this AAA game a week before it comes out, and the save data transfers over. Like, that's to me as a consumer, I'm like, okay, yeah, I really would like to check this out now. I'm excited, even though I don't know too much about Final Fantasy 16.
I know nothing about Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw like the trailer where it's like, "Come to me, Ifrit," and like that's it. Like that's I don't know who the character is. I don't know what the story is.
Um, what I was wondering is, so we just started the game, which I'm sure everyone saw me do the basic setups and everything. Um, is just how long is this intro cutscene?
None of that was playable, right? Like you weren't controlling that Phoenix or
No,
anything
I,
like
I
that.
I did control the Phoenix firing,
Okay.
um, bu- uh, not bullets, but fucking
Yeah.
fire shots or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think any of it fucking mattered.
Hmm.
But no, that's it's. I'm just wondering. Yeah, it's Square. They love their fucking cinematic cutscenes.
Well, not only the cutscenes, but I mean, Square has always been about pushing. Like, look at like here you go. There's your nice, beautiful shot. They're always been about high visual fidelity, and this game already right off the bat here does not disappoint. I
No,
guess it really wouldn't be a Final Fantasy game without any kind of like visual spectacle.
yeah, absolutely. Um, oh, okay, we're in control.
There we go.
Maybe. Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's interesting because this game had have been developed alongside other Square games like the Final Fantasy VII remake, all the Final Fantasy VII remake DLC, the next chapter of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I know this game has had like a long and kind of troubled development, so I'm going to be interesting to see like has it affected the development of other games because I'm sure everybody on the Square team is just pushed to the limit right now, making these crazy big games.
Oh, he kind of walks weird. I, it's one of those things that, like, when you're controlling someone, sometimes they're,
Hmm.
I don't know, they shuffle. Okay.
Yeah, you don't really see. That's the thing about Final Fantasies. There's Final Fantasy like Type Zero actually was probably the most like violent and like true Final Fantasy game. Like you're gonna be tired if you use a lot of magic. If you get hit by a sword, you're gonna be bloody. Like a lot of games, Final Fantasy games, like don't depict that. They just kind of like vanish if you defeat your enemy. You don't actually see like dudes getting bloodied up and
Was
mutilated.
this
Like here,
was this supposed to be part of Crystal for whatever the Final
Crystal
Fantasy
Chronicle.
13?
No, well, maybe. I mean, we don't really. I don't think that story has ever really come out because there was like supposed to be like Final Fantasy Versus 13, whatever the hell that stood for,
I think
and
one of them was Final Fantasy Type Zero.
yeah, Type Zero was originally released on PSP in Japan,
Correct.
never came here, and then they HDified it for Xbox and PlayStation, years later as a digital download. But yeah,
Didn't
no,
we
this.
get three Final Fantasy 13? Yes, Lightning Returns.
Yes, yep. There was 3 13s. There was 2 10s, a bunch of DLC for 14. There was a bunch of
Well,
extra.
14 doesn't count. It's like
14 doesn't count.
11.
Exactly. And then 15 had a bunch of extra DLC too.
I never really got that far into 15.
I was just going to say, there was like 2 demos for 15, and I played the one to like completion, started playing the other demo, and I thought it was actually like not so bad. And then at one point, I actually bought 15, and then I just never played it. Actually, what I did play in 15, there was a spin off game. There's a free game. If you just type in Final Fantasy 15, like on the Xbox Store or PlayStation Store, or even on Steam, I forget what it was called, King's Sword or something, King's Glaive, something like that. And it was a free to play, like a Final Fight brawler. And it was like a full game that was just free, like so you can get like achievements and stuff. There was like a leaderboard, and it was actually like like not so bad. There's this free like beat 'em up game that was like a prequel or something like that to Final Fantasy 15 or something, like when you play as like the original king and not like the son like in the main game or something. But
Mhm.
I thought that was cool, like these extra spin-off projects like they didn't have to do.
I hated the cast. I didn't get very far,
Hmm.
but like I got to the port, which is probably the first
Hmm.
hour and a half tops of that game,
Hmm.
and I couldn't stand anyone.
Yeah, because you play as those like 4 dudes in like a boy band. Yeah, I never played the full game, but because the demo was just like you play as like the guy. I forget, I don't even know his name. Noctis.
Yes.
And so the demo wasn't really, just a very light version of the game.
Yeah, the movement it seemed like a very parts of it seemed like a very square action RPG game, but there were definitely like there are just certain parts that I don't know, it didn't like the realistic product placement.
Hmm.
Like you would camp and everything would be Coleman branded.
Yes, or like Coca-Cola or something was in there, maybe.
Cup of noodles was,
Cup of noodle, yeah,
and
yeah.
it was. I don't mind realistic branding in games that take place in the real world, but when it's a fantasy world and like you're already like, okay, why is Coleman here? Why is Coke here? But
Yeah.
on top of that, it was all of the branding was unrealistically huge. Like you're not gonna miss that this is Coleman
Hmm.
branded, tents or okay.
I was just gonna say, I don't think there's ever been like a crazy,
Well, she called him a cock, which is pretty.
yeah, like a passionate.
Yeah, this is supposedly the first dude's motorboating her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This supposedly has
Like this is
the
something
first
that should
fuck
be.
in a Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, this
Like
is
them
something that should
saying
be
it.
like. This should be like a disc 3 kind of a cutscene.
Yeah, no, that's
Right out of the gate with this. Wow.
yeah, huh.
I would like to see the combat system. That's
Yeah, so would I.
a lot of story here. Like the Final Fantasy VII remake, like you get off the train, you start slicing guys like almost immediately. Here's like, all right, we're just gonna take our time.
Well, no, yeah, that's how it always started. Is it would be like it was like a 2 minute really cool cutscene,
Hmm.
and then you fought that you like threw you right into battle, and
There we
then
go.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if Square is ever gonna go back to turn-based
Um,
combat. Like I don't know, maybe unless there's like specific, like that's the retro vibe that they're
the
specifically
new
going for.
Star
Like,
Ocean had sort of turn based.
hmm
It was more of a classical Star Ocean, and it's
hmm
funny because all of Square's I actually have been having a really good time playing Square's B titles this year.
hmm
Star Ocean and the Valkyrie.
Oh, Valkyrie Profile, yeah.
Yeah. Those while they're not like, oh, these games are like amazing. It's just Star Ocean did exactly what I wanted to. It didn't take itself too seriously. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And it was easy to play and easy to get. Like the best part about an RPG is like when it becomes easy to be, excuse me, overpowered. Like if you just
Yeah.
sit there and grind or like figure out, like get really good at some of the systems,
Hmm.
you can get really overpowered pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for information on the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remasters. Like
Is it
Konami was like,
is it an HD remaster or is it
yeah,
just they just called it like a
yeah.
remaster?
Well, Konami announced it like a long time ago. This
I
was like 2 years ago now, and it still hasn't come out. Like,
Oh, so
you know,
I don't know if I had brought this up to you. They that team that developed the original let's say 2 3/4 Suikoden games. So
hmm
1, 2, and most of three. They are they got back together for a game, Lydian 100 Heroes.
I never even heard of this game.
It was a Kickstarter game. It was like
Oh,
one of the highest funded Kickstarter games ever.
hmm.
And they released a prequel to it that was a sort of like Odin Sphere type game.
Ah, okay.
I actually played through all of it and got like 100% on the achievements,
Damn.
and just recently finished it. Because the only reason I really ever picked it up was because, oh, this is like the spiritual successor to Suikoden is this game.
Yeah.
I'm looking for, okay, let's just see what this is. It was good, and it's funny because people bitched about it. All that did is get me like really fucking excited for like when that game comes out, which is it got delayed. It was supposed to come out the end of last year, and they
hmm
said it very much will be coming out sometime this year. Everyone's kind of guessing summer? Question mark.
hmm Yeah, I never had the chance to play. I played one a little bit, when when I first got my PlayStation. I remember being like really confused by it because like, why is there so many guys
Yeah.
on the screen and they all attack kind of like at the same time? Like what's happening? I didn't really understand it. Never got because I just like rented it or whatever for a day. And then I never had the chance to play two, but I heard two
2 is one
is
of
supposed to
the
be awesome.
best
Yes,
RPGs.
because it came out like a week after Final Fantasy VIII or something like that, and so like everybody, it just got completely overlooked
Hmm.
when it first launched.
And so I didn't like the third one. I think a lot of my problem was like in the other two, you were a blank slate as a character. In this one, it had three main characters that you were supposed to choose from.
hmm
I don't like that when games do that. And it supposedly doesn't change almost anything if you choose whichever one you choose, which, great, thanks for giving me the choice then. Like, only really give me choices if it fucking. Oh, that dude's done.
Yeah, I was
If
gonna
it
say this.
matters.
There's a lot of dodging of rocks and boulders in this cutscene.
Yeah, to say the least.
What was his name? Wyvern? What was it?
Myron?
Weird.
Yeah. But Suikoden 5 was fine.
Yeah, how many were there? Five?
Uh, 5 mainline entry,
And then there was
Suikoden
an
Tactics,
yes, I was gonna say
and
there's one on DS.
then yeah, that 10 something.
10, yeah, 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 Ted something, yeah, it's a weird, confusing word that I didn't know what it was.
I don't think it's a real word. Um,
Yeah,
so there were 7, but like the
but
one on the
five,
the one
five
on the
main lines.
DS, I don't even know that I would really classify. Like
hmm
it's like when they would throw Final Fantasy on the title of something. We have an
Oh,
RPG, and
yeah,
you know,
that's why it's like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. It's not a real Final Fantasy, but it's a
it has
spin-off.
things that make it similar to a Final Fantasy, but
Yeah,
like Suikoden, the main thing is the 8,000 characters you can recruit and play as.
yeah. That was why I didn't like understand. I was like, what is happening? There's like so much. Yeah, I need to
Hundred,
play it again. That's why I was looking forward to the HD remaster, remake, or whatever the hell it is, because I was like, this could be the chance to play these games again.
yeah. So the first one has 108 recruitable characters, or 108 characters.
Oh, here's your battle
Yeah.
tutorial. You got to do it with wood swords. They don't even throw you right into a real battle. There you go.
So they had 108, and then the second one actually had more than the 108. You could like there was characters you could recruit that weren't counted in the 108 stars of destiny.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like, so each character is designated as a star. Like, so again, this is why I've heard like over the years, just get people talking about this stuff, and I get it's really confusing if you haven't played it. So it's like, what's a star? That's a character. What does a Suikoden even mean? What?
Who the fuck knows what Suikoden means? A star is a recruitable character. They're the stars
Yeah.
of destiny.
hmm
So uh, that's just it plays a lot on Chinese mysticism,
mm
which it means something. It has something to do with. I don't know. It's also been a while
Sure.
since
Yeah. hmm
um But yeah, and there was like the second one. There were people that you could recruit that weren't Stars of Destiny that were just sort of like extra side characters. Like
Hmm.
there were flying squirrels you could recruit, and there was like 26 of them because they literally were named like flying squirrel A, B, C, D. It was like all of the letters.
This is why I was horribly confused and still am.
Yeah.
Like how they have to give you a specific tutorial section with wooden swords. Like they don't even trust you enough to fight like an actual monster with like 1 HP. You hit him twice, once, to kill him like in a real battle.
I love that the first one it it counted like me basically not even fucking being anywhere close to dodging, and then the other ones are like you
Yeah,
kind of
you
gotta get it a little
you got yeah,
closer.
you got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hate the games that do like the perfect parry nonsense, where it's like you have to hit the parry button exactly at the
Yeah,
frame.
congratulations. The only time I'm ever going to do it in this is in this tutorial and never
Ex-
again.
exactly.
Because it involves learning a fucking enemy's movements. So,
Yeah,
like,
and just you have to have good reaction time. So you need to like have the experience of fighting that specific enemy and memorizing its pattern, and then you got to know when to hit the damn button exactly at the right time.
oh god, so they have that stupid fucking warp from the last game.
I was just gonna say that's what knocked us. That was the whole gimmick. Is like you throw your sword like on the thing over there, and then he warps to it.
So, what are you thinking, sir?
I mean, I definitely don't hate it. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. We're still early into the game. I'm curious to see more. I'm curious to see who these characters are, what
It's
the
doing
main.
all of the shit that modern Final Fantasies do that annoy the living fuck out of me.
I wish it would just let you play the day. Like I feel like, all right, I feel like everybody has played a real-time action game. Everybody's played some type of a Dark Souls at this point. Like you kind
Yeah,
of
and
just
it's
hit
not
the
even that.
sword
It's
button.
like Final Fantasy, any of them would throw you directly into the action.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy IV for the time was this insanely long intro cutscene with Cecil like fucking
Hmm.
stealing the crystals and everything.
Sure.
But it just sort of after that threw you out into the wild and told you to go.
There might have been one text box that said, "This is the active time battle. Just wait for this meter to fill before you can do
No,
something."
they
Like that was
actually
it.
they had the characters perform it without your inputs before that.
Sure.
So
I
like
mean,
you
there's
saw what was going on and could be like, "Oh, okay, I kind of get it." It since Final Fantasy 12, let's say,
yeah, yeah.
it's
It
been
would have been
like
12. Yep, it would have been 12.
it's like super like it's been taking forever to like just fucking like get to the fucking point.
Yeah, like I feel like this is okay. We've played any video game before. Like we can figure this out pretty quickly.
Well,
You
yeah,
don't
but
need to.
it's one of those things that it's like the last thing that a company wants to do is have you fucking put down their not play their game because yeah, and there you go, like right there, like I hit the dodge button and it didn't do fuck all. They don't want you to like put down the game because you weren't able to figure something out.
I think if you like, if I never played a game before,
Do I not have
I
mana?
I probably yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't like. I would be incredibly intimidated by Final Fantasy 16 because I'd never played one before. Like that alone
You know,
would
I
be intimidating. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even like I'd be so afraid because it's like I haven't played the first 15 games. I don't even know that there were spin-offs. People that are playing this game have probably played a Final Fantasy game before and any kind of a video game before. This is not like a newbie game. We don't need a crazy tutorial. I mean, maybe they're just saving this for the demo because it's like a specific demo. Maybe this isn't in like the main game. I don't know.
I'm assuming this is very much in the main game.
I'm going to assume it's also in the main game too, but oh man, like you don't let me just play, let me just figure it out.
I,
But other than that, I mean, I think it's Final Fantasy. Like the graphics are great. I think it sounds like it's already got a crazy story. They're here's another cinematic camera angle. Like they definitely did their homework. There's definitely the square polish on here. So, am I going to play this demo? Yeah, you know, I
yeah,
want to learn
as soon
more.
as you're done
It's
talking to me,
not.
you're gonna go
It's not.
back and
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I don't want to like sound like I'm shitting on it. It's just like I'm very much interested because it's a big deal. It's a numbered Final Fantasy game. Like you have to kind of play it.
yeah. All right,
And
so you want to tell
But
me who we are?
yes, yeah. So we are from a small website called MyGamer.com, but just don't be intimidated by our small website because we have a ton of content on there. But the content is revolving around games and previews and news about the games that you don't normally see on the big website. So if you want to see something different, check out our website, put us in your favorites, bookmark us. We are posting stuff all the time, almost every day, every week. Give us a check out there, and then you could follow me on Twitter at Zach Gaz, ZACKGAZ. And until next time, thank you for watching and game on.